All right, Chumash.
Page 14.
Thank you. Page 14, Shani. The
Thank
Levites
you.
were to replace the firstborn in the roles of in the role of service. They were installed into their new position. God further told Moshe that Levites should start training for their service at the age of 25 and actually serve from 30 to 50. After this, the Levites shall enter to perform the service, the tent of meeting. And you shall purify them, and wave them as a wave offering. Actually, Aaron lifted up the Levites.
Yeah.
How do you do that? You pick up each Levite one at a time, 22,000 of them?
I was thinking the same thing that Alan
His
just
sons
said.
also. So Aaron and his two sons, he split it 22,000 5 by 3.
That's a lot of shaking.
A lot of lifting.
They were strong too.
Yeah, I don't know.
They were.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. All right, Tessayin. Ki nisunim hemali, for they are fully given over to me. Techem Yisrael, amongst the children of Israel. Tachas pitas kol rechem b'char kol b'nei Yisrael. I have taken them for myself in place of every child that first opens the womb. Lakachti oisamli. I have taken them for me.
Naces.
Nisunim, they're fully given over. They're given over. They're given over. They're dedicated. What are they dedicated to? Lamasa, to the transporting Ye Old Moving Company. Ye Old Levi and Sons Moving Company. They had the trend. They're given over for that, and Nisunim Lashir, and they're given over for the singing they do. Yeah. There's also one more category of Levite of service they do, which was they guard, right? They're guarding people from coming in. So Aaron, nobody's unauthorized. But that's going to be hinted in verse 19. I give them over to Aaron, to assist Aaron in his job of them doing the Kohen doing the work and no one else.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I wanted to point out, I think it's a nice, simple Devar Torah. Given over to something, given over to a cause. What does that mean? Both the heavy lifting, the masa, to be given over for the grit, the hard, lifting of it, and given over to the singing of it, to the pleasant, enjoyment and selling it, so to speak, or doing it in the positive.
Mm-hmm.
You like that?
Mm-hmm.
We could work with that. It's a good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tazayin. Ki li chol bechar b'vnei Yisrael. For every firstborn of the children of Israel, whether among people or animals, b'yoim hakoisi chol bechar ben Yisraelim. On the day I smote the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I sanctified them for me. I say, did I skip? I skipped. Back to Tazayin. Tachas pitras korechem bechor. They're given over for me for among the children of Israel. I've taken them in the place of the first womb openers, the firstborn children of amongst the children of Israel, the non-Levites. I've taken the Levites to me instead. Rashi says pitas means the opening. Okay, Yud Zayin, Rashi. Why do I have rights as God to the firstborn? Because, let's see the verse, Yud Zayin, Ki li chol b'char b'nei Yisrael, for to me was all the firstborns of the children of Israel. by man and by animal. They belong to God. Biyoim. On the day that I smote the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I have sanctified them for myself. Every firstborn is mine. The firstborns were mine by strict right, for I protected them among the firstborns of Egypt, and I took them to be mine. Until Ad Shatoba Egel, till they messed up by the golden calf debacle. And now I'm taking Levites instead of them. I do have a question.
What's was?
Maybe the Uzdin edition can answer for us.
What's the kasha?
The whole reason God gets the firstborn is because of the miracle of the smiting of the firstborn. Isn't there a concept that all firsts belong to God, like Bikurim? Like the first, the choicest goes to God. Isn't that like a principle in general that it's only right? God gives you everything. It's only right you give the first to God back.
That's not kasha. What's your kasha?
That's my kasha.
What happens to the firstborn then after God makes this trade for the Levites?
Then they're done. They're expiated. They don't have the responsibility.
I don't understand, because it's somehow I still feel like I'm a firstborn, and I still feel like I have obligations because of that. Am I, as a firstborn, am I to just ignore it now?
Well, the Torah doesn't totally ignore the firstborn status, right? The firstborn gets a double portion in the inheritance of their parents. As an example, there is still prestige of the firstborn.
And we redeem them to this day. 5 shekels.
Right. So, but as far as the divine, service that was going to be theirs of the temple, for example, today we don't have any Kohen divine service in the temple. We do have the one remnant, I think, of the Kohen is the blessing of the Kohen.
Duchening.
So yeah, and that doesn't go to the firstborn. So it seems like the firstborn is a categorically important. There's some importance of that child vis-a-vis the other children, or vis-a-vis the rest of the Jewish people. But the way that would have been taken to the furthest degree of them being the priests, but that priestly duties that was taken away from them.
So what's your kasha?
But I'm saying, Alma, it's a separate question. Like, what does it mean to be a firstborn in a Kohen world? I don't know.
I have to fast on the what is it, on Erev Pesach,
right?
The morning. I have to fast, and so what's going on?
It sounds to me, the way I understand it is that you are the Bechor is inherently a certain level of prestige and holiness, but because of the mistake of the golden calf, they can't service. It's almost like they're tameh in that regard. That they're defiled. That they should do the service, but they're defiled. They can't do the service. Hence, they need a Kohen to be their proxy, and that's why the term is they're taken instead of this, or the Levites and Kohen are the proxies of the Kohen of the firstborn. It's like inherently the firstborn is something holy, dedicated to God. The problem is that they're defiled because of the golden calf. Hence, they had to switch or be switched for the Levite. Now, does that make the Bechor now nothing? I don't think nothing. I think it is a prestige that is just unable to go do that priestly duty now. It's like a slightly marred. It's a prestigious holiness that is in essence, but in actual practice, there's a defiling there that they can't do it.
It's still Kadesh Li Chol Bechor.
Well,
it's
that's
still
what I
there.
said.
You can't get around it.
Right. And what do? You're going to have to go redeem.
I may not have the obligation to hold the service unless I'm not a Levite already. But I still feel like, there is an obligation.
And therefore, you need to redeem every baby firstborn boy
5 shekel.
5 shekel because they are.
That's a big deal.
There is a holiness there. The reality is, though, they can't go do the service because of this golden calf defilement that happened. But there is, so it's like it's not either or. Essentially, there's a holiness there. In practice, it's a defiled holiness, so they can't do it. Hence, they have to be redeemed for a Kohen or a Levite, whatever.
Do you understand, Alan?
Make sense? Somewhat?
I don't understand.
It's not an easy answer. The answer is there is holiness of the firstborn, but they can't do the service.
Right.
I understand that.
Now, what's
So that's
your question?
My question is why is God saying I own the rights to all firstborns, and they have to then be redeemed for the Levite because I smote the firstborn? What if God didn't smite the firstborn?
That was exactly why. Okay.
Okay, so that's a question.
What's the logic?
Why is it
Saying,
limited to that?
The Egyptian firstborn. Now I'm going to take your firstborn. What's the logic?
No. I think no. I understand the logic is that you only exist in particular by this miracle that I did to save your lives. Like, therefore, your whole existence is mine.
What's the problem with that?
My question is more.
Okay. So
Why do you have to go that far? Why not just say the first of everything we know as a principle goes to God? Why do you give Bikurim? Do we say give Bikurim because God smote the firstborn in Egypt? Why do you give the first fruits?
Every first you're right, is Hashem.
So why have to give a reasoning of the Makas Bechiris?
Because they made a big boo-boo.
But why do you need to go? No. That's the calf. That's everything. Why does God, before the calf, why does God say, I own firstborns because I saved them by the plague of the firstborn? Why can't the firstborn just belong to God, period? Because first belong to God. It's not a serious, I can't say, I don't know if it's a serious question. It's just a...
You said it too fast for me, so I don't know what you're asking. You know what he's asking?
I don't want to say, it's not a major question, so let's go on.
Okay.
Yud Ches. But I then took the Levites, Tachas Kol B'char B'nai Yisrael, in the place of every firstborn amongst Israel. Yud Tes ve'ednes Halviim, and I gave the Levites Nesunim la'Aaron Levanav, to Aaron and his sons, Mitech B'nai Yisrael, from the Jewish people, La'avod Tzavos B'nai Yisrael B'Elmei, to serve the service in the tent of meeting, the Chap B'nai Yisrael, and to atone, and to bring atonement for the children of Israel. Lo Yibnei Yisrael Negev, Begesh B'nai Yisrael El Kodesh. There will not be any plague on the children of Israel. Which would be if they would approach, if the Israelites, the non-Levite Kohanim non-Kohen would go approach to the service. Yotes. Ve'etna v'goymar. I have presented. Pam nem b'nei Yisrael migazel l'dir chibasan. The children of Israel are stated 5 times in this verse to show us how dear they are to the Eternal.
Okay.
Five times was said the children of Israel in this verse to let us know their dearness. For they are mentioned one verse. The same amount of books of the Torah. So in one verse, it says Bnei Yisrael 5 times. A Jew is Torah. Lo Yibnei Yisrael Negev. There will not be a plague among the children of Israel. Because it won't be necessary if they don't go, because if they do go, they get plagued. That was the honor guard of the Levites. preventing anybody from coming in. Moshe, Aaron, and the entire community of Israel performed the procedure with the Levites. Everything God commanded Moshe to the Levites regarding the Levites. Thus the children of Israel did what they do. Rashi says, Moshe positioned them, and Aaron waved them. So some was him, and the children of Israel rest their hands upon them.
$8.74.
Chavalef. Levites cleansed themselves and washed their clothes, and Aaron waved them as a wave offering. And they washed their clothes. And Aaron waved them as a wave offering for God. And Aaron then made atonement for them to purify them. Chavalef. Chabez. Afterwards, the Levites came to service. They're serving in the tent of meeting of Aaron and Aaron in front of his kids. Kasher, Moshe, just like Hashem commanded Moshe, Alvi regarding the Levites. Thus the children of Israel did to them. Like Hashem commanded, so they did. This comes to recount the praise of those that did it and those that had done it to them, and no one resisted. Meaning everybody had something to lose. The Jews now longer, the Israelite, other tribes, they don't get their firstborn kids to the service. They had no resentment. They did it. The Levites now have to be much more careful with tumah and all types of stuff. It's a hard life. They don't resist. Moshe and Aaron were not jealous of any other Levites, even though they didn't have to share the prominent positions with them. Saying, this is the law concerning Levites. From 20 years and on, he comes to join the group in the work of the tent of meeting. Rashi. This is the law about Levites, that there's years that they're allowed to do the service, and there's years they can't do the service. The years will disqualify them if they get past a certain age, but blemishes do not disqualify them. From 25 years old. Another place it says from 30 years, 25 or 30. So it says from 25 they would go to learn the laws. They'd go to basically Levi school.
Wow.
And then they learn for 5 years, and then 30 they started serving in the temple.
50, right?
Till 50, yeah. Here we learn that a student who does not become a good student after 5 years, he's simply not going to do well in his studies. From 50 and on, they return they withdraw from this work of the group, and they no longer work. What does they don't work? They no longer work with the schlepping, the carrying stuff.
Heavy stuff.
But they could still lock the gates and do the song and serve and even load the wagons.
Ooh.
This is what it says. Vasher says that he can serve with his brothers. Vasher says he shall ever serve with his brethren in the tent to fulfill certain duties. Serves with his brothers in the tent of meeting to fulfill his duties people it's not do any work though. He can't do Kohen work. Thus is how you shall have the Levim do it. There's carry their duties. Rashi, they can fulfill their duties like to encamp around the tent, the Mishkan, and to set up and dismantle it. the time of journeying.
He's the firstborn who was supposed to get the sanctified.